Hello, you are welcome to This Morning, and my name is Eshomomoh Imoudu. And over time, security and anti-corruption has been the focus of the Buhari government. And meanwhile, just tomorrow, Saturday, September 5, 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration will be 100 days in office. And just yesterday, President Buhari and his Vice President Yemi Osinbajo publicly declared their assets, and this and more will be our focus on discussion today. And I have with me here two gentlemen who will help do justice to these topics, talking about it's 100 days in office, the anti-corruption fight, the security challenge, and also the focus on the economic policy given to us by this government on a couple of days back. I have here with me Major Debo Bashorun, retired, a political military analyst. Sir, you're welcome to this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, and just sitting next to him, I have Adeluola, politician, social commentator. You're welcome to this morning.
The pleasure is mine.
All right, now let me start with you, Major Debo. 100 days, just by tomorrow, this government will be 100 days in office. Now, we've had a focus, anti-corruption fight for some time. We have the security strategy of the government. And a couple of days back, the Vice President gave us what we call the economic blueprint of government, and they've been talking about these three focus. Now, how will you assess this government so far if we use the word 100 days in office?
Well, if one has to think very deeply, this president, Muhammadu Buhari, I think is a silent achiever. It's not somebody who makes noise about what he has done so far. There have been so many improvements in all kinds of areas of our endeavor every day. If I were to be his teacher, or somebody who is competent to give him marks, I'll give him around 70%.
70%.
70%.
Let me ask you, will you share the same thing? He said if you were to be his teacher, as a Nigerian, you should be able to assess your president. So how will you assess this president?
Before I come to the assessment of the president, I think it is imperative that I state that his approach to governance has been meticulously planned, slow and steady, and is determined and ruthlessly determined to touch all fabrics of governance. And we can see the footprints on the wall. It's conspicuously displayed in terms of his trips, in terms of his statements. He's not a general statement maker. Yeah. He's very stingy with information because it's best when you keep some valuable facts to yourself and work within limited cabinet guides. Yeah. I'm not a very generous man when it comes to marking scripts, that I must say, but I think I will say 75%.
75%. So you have 70, you have 75, and that is distinction if we're going to take a look at it. Now, I for one, I was on the platform yesterday, and I said, when I listened to the economic framework, I was elated because I've always said that you're fighting corruption, you're fighting insurgency. Now, how do we grow the system? And just to kind of help answer the thoughts in my mind, and they brought the economic policy. Now, for you, if you look at this three-pronged approach of this government, security, anti-corruption fight, and also economy. Now, which aspect will you say, which aspect will you say tripped you the most that he's been able to prove his mettle?
Yeah, well, one thing we will understand is that without adequate security, the economy cannot grow. People cannot go about their daily lives as they should. So in the area of security that he tackled at the very first moment that he assumed office, I think it's a wise step for him to have taken. He went around to all these neighboring countries to solicit for their support in making sure that this cancer is done with totally for the last time. And from the reports coming from the field, there's no doubt that the military guys who are in the field, they're achieving success after success. The most difficult place for them for quite a while now is Gamborim Gala or something You know, that city is a junction city that links Cameroon, Chad, and kind of is a pivotal area, even for the enemy forces too. But for them to have actually liberated that place is a very good omen that they are on the right track, and that within a very short time, just like he predicted, just like the marching orders he gave to the military, within that 3-month frame, we should be relaxing and, you know, taking stock that I wouldn't say the insurgency will be over completely, because you always have pockets of people who are disgruntled, isolated cases here and there, like what happened a day, 2 days ago, you know. But the mere fact that their backbone has been broken completely. Since when have you heard of the Shekau again? Since when have you seen somebody release a tape recording of anything?
No, Shekau was silenced long ago.
That's what I mean. It used to be an everyday thing.
It used to be a video Shekau, and now became an audio Shekau.
It's another, even the audio Shekau is very hard to come by now. So you can see that from that point of view, you will realize that the military is actually on the right track. And it's because of the leadership that have been provided by this president.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let me still stay on you with this question. Just yesterday also, about 3,032 convicted soldiers were kind of reinstated into the military. How will this help to up the game for our military?
Oh, it's going to be helped tremendously. Remember now that will have been minus 3,000 something men that we will have used for other purposes rather than everybody going to the front. There are other security concerns too that need to be policed by these military people. Now that they'll be back in force, although they have to undergo sort of orientation and training again to get them assimilated completely back into the military. So that has to be done. But one thing you realize from that point of view too is that these are people who have been unjustly sent out of the military.
Do you see unjustly?
Oh yes, unjustly, because the former chief of defense staff admitted to the whole world that they were ill-equipped. They were not equipped to fight. And if you as a soldier, I do not give you, take for instance, as an officer, you are my soldier, I give you orders, go and capture a place without even a weapon, without a rifle. How are you going to achieve it? And these are the same people you sort of court-martialed and then you sentence them to dismissal. Okay. You see, the era of political generals, I can assure you, it's over.
It's over.
Yes.
And just within this space of the 100 days, the president went to several countries to kind of solicit for partnership especially in the fight against corruption and also the insurgency war. Now we might not have physically started seeing the influx of those help we've anticipated, especially from the West. But would you say that those trips are critical essentials for why our military is so confident now? They look, in 3 months we're going to. I just listened to one interview. I think yesterday, the military chief was saying, look, just in 3 months we're going to. The high command given by the president, we're going to make sure that we defeat Boko Haram. Would you say that these are part of the things that is making up for this confidence level?
Definitely, because when you have United States of America, right, partnering you, I don't think sky is your limit. That alone will send a very strong signal to the foot soldiers there that they are not alone. Prior to Buhari, there was little or no direct military assistance to Nigeria. But Buhari came, a 4-star general, retired, came. That's an experience. That's something that cannot be ignored. We need somebody with experience, somebody that is well equipped and vast. I think his approach to governance is a wide track approach. He's looking at the Boko Haram case very strongly. His eyes are glued onto the Boko Haram's activities through his able, newly appointed officers. And he's also pursuing a very aggressive but subtle economic program that will free up the Nigerian economy from this cancer that has been eating so deeply into all sections of our economy. And with this twin track approach, all other approaches, all other stuffs will fall in like a puzzle. Because you cannot just pursue one in isolation. A signal needs to be sent that Boko Haram is going nowhere. They are going to be stopped. And who is best able to stop them? Nigerian military force. And they are now fully alive to the responsibility, because all those countries that are saying Nigeria is a no-go are now queuing up. They are now showing interest. They are now partnering. The US Embassy ambassador made a statement. The UK ambassador make very strong case for Buhari. These are officers of international repute that are very hopeful, highly interested in partnering Nigeria. And this is just a moral boost. It's going to be a win-win situation. Okay, fair enough, I'm a politician, I'm an APC man, but what is at stake is more than partisan partnership. It's Nigeria we are talking about. And Nigeria has been subjected to a state of what I would describe as permanent poverty as a result of the carelessness and recklessness of the last administration. And this is a man with right support and advice, most especially international support. Things going to happen for better in Nigeria. I'm very, very hopeful of Nigeria of today and Nigeria of tomorrow, because this is our country. We've got nowhere else to go. It's Nigeria. And the way we're going about it, the army are now fully resourced. They are going to use the best equipment ever money can buy, and it's going to be value for money. It's not going to be abnormally inflated like we have seen in the past. We are moving away from all that. And we're now having healthy, competitive tendering. What else are you going to ask for? Once we are able to successfully and permanently tackle Boko Haram, we are going to be unleashing money into the economy. And that's what we need, because corruption stops money from getting to the right places.
Corruption stops money from getting to the right
Absolutely.
place.
It's a direct fraud on every single person born, live in Nigeria.
Okay. Let's come into this other issue. Just yesterday, the asset of the president and his vice was publicly declared, and I think this is the first time we're having such a thing. We're having it publicly declared like this. And now, what message is this sending to Nigerians? Especially, this is coming on the eve of this 100 days talk.
I want to say that as somebody who has been in the military, I will excuse my colleague here for saying Buhari is a four-star general. He isn't a four-star general. And that shows you that he's not somebody who's greedy. There's nobody who has taken over power militarily in this country that's never been a full general.
Okay. He didn't promote himself beyond.
He did not.
He entered as a major general. He didn't promote himself.
You see, that tells you the type of person he is. So this type of declaration that he and his vice made a few days ago is not surprising to some of us who knew him. You know, he has a precedent, and I wish this country will support him. I wish Nigerians will rise up.
He already has the support of Nigerians. That's why he's there.
Oh yes, he has the support of Nigeria, but you can see that corruption is trying to fight back now, and that's what I mean. We have to stand up to these forces who do not want us to go forward as a country. This is the right man at the right place at the right time now. If you allow this opportunity to slip again, well, this country will be in trouble. I don't know. I'm not a soothsayer. I don't know whether there will be a Nigeria if you allow this opportunity to slip through our fingers. And back to your question about the declaration. You can see that he has lived a Spartan life. Even his vice has some more assets than he does. This is somebody who doesn't believe in it. Those of us who served under him, will tell you, we've got the right man to do this job. And I hope Nigerians will support, like, wholeheartedly, fight these forces that try to pull us back and make sure that things are the way they're supposed to be.
Okay. Just on the eve, like I said, on the eve of the 100-day celebration, we then have the president publicly declaring his asset. But he's just one man. Yeah, he with his vice. They're just two of them doing this. Now, how do you see this also cutting across? Do you see other politicians buying into this, or do you see it kind of affecting the conduct of other politicians in office?
You see, as a student of management, I would define Buhari as leadership by example. Because if he's openly declared his assets, what are the significance of doing that? One is trying to say, if you think there's anything that is wrong in the statement I have published or published on my behalf, challenge it. Because if you challenge it and it's proven that I have withheld some material information, that can lead to so many things, amongst which can be vote of no confidence. Even if he managed to stay in government, but the people are now saying he's a liar, it's just like the corrupt officials. Because when you look at corruption, I'm not interested in bribery aspect of it. That is the lower ebb of corruption. Corruption impairs integrity. And once the integrity is gone, you are gone. That's a school of thought. So it's not the aftermath of the corruption, which is the bribery, the illicit money that exchanges hands. It's the integrity that disappears before it gets to money going down the drain. And that's what stops the development of this nation. And that is what needs to be unleashed so that the money can go into the right places. Now he declared his assets. According to paper, we know what he's got. I live in Lagos. I don't know the geography of Daura. I should know, but I don't know. There are people in Daura who must have seen this. And if they think there's something that is untoward, I'm sure they will speak out. If they are not, if we haven't had anything to the contrary about the assets declaration, then I would like to accept the declaration as a true position of his properties or assets. This must be cascaded down the ladder. That is when it will be meaningful.
Now, how do you do this?
If he's done it now, and immediately the vice followed suit, well, you are now going to tell me who is going to be above those two guys that's going to serve in this government that will not do the same. Because what would be their reason for not wanting to do it? And that's why I describe it.
You mean his appointees?
Yes, his appointees.
Okay.
What will stop them from not doing it? If they say they're not going to do it, they're not ready to serve. And that's corruption again, coming through, because we all have to be very, very skeptical now. Nigeria now is not the Nigeria of the last 10 years, or even the last 8 months, where say nothing, see nothing, look at your shoes. We've moved on. We are not ready for this careless and reckless spending. We are not ready for somebody hoarding money in their houses as if they are hoarding tubers of yam or bread. It's crazy.
Okay. Major, let me come back to you. Now, what is the difference between some man publicly declaring his asset and another person not publicly declaring?
Well,
does it mean that the one who has publicly declared is better off than the one who has not publicly declared? Don't we have the code of conduct bureau?
We do,
who should be able
but
to carry
the
that?
moral authority is what takes somebody who declares his assets. He's got a better a moral authority over somebody who doesn't declare his own. If you are a public servant, for instance, you want to serve this country, we want to know you, we want to know who you are. But by the time you do this, one other thing that has not been the practice in the past is that if some of these public servants, they actually did, but there was no verification.
And it's not their fault, because by law, you're supposed to make it known to the code of conduct.
Because if
to declare it publicly.
If you are in an environment that everything stinks, you will be stinking yourself. This is what has been happening. But this is a leader who has come forth and said, look, this is me here. And that is why it's taken. I was monitoring what's been going on in the media for some time. Since he first declared his assets, there was some school of thought that says, okay, you have to tell us what it is. After declaration of assets, the next step is that this body will now go and verify.
Yes.
And this is what has taken this time for these things to come out publicly now. It was not there. It was not being that way during this past administration. But this time around, this man wants to do the right thing at the right time, in the right place, in round peg in a round hole. He doesn't want to say because people are talking, then he will do the wrong thing. He has done the right thing. The Code of Conduct Bureau has gone to investigate, and now that they have said, well, this is what he has. If you, Eshomomoh, knows about what else he has got, but has not declared, now it's your duty to say, no, he has a house behind me here.
Yes.
He has not declared that.
Okay, I brought this up because by law, you are not mandated to make your asset known to the public. By law, you are only required to make it known to the Code of Conduct.
Absolutely.
Now, if the president is able to ensure that his appointees publicly declare, it's just because he wants them to publicly declare. Now, how about those other elected that by law are not mandated to publicly declare, but they owe a duty to the Constitution to make it known to the Code of Conduct? Now, how can the Code of Conduct carry out its own responsibility to ensure that when these people leave office, you might not have declared it publicly, but it is known to the Code of Conduct? Have they been up to their responsibility that, okay, when they leave office, let me compare, because you're going to declare again when you leave office what you are what. Let me compare what you submitted when you were coming into the office and what you now submitted after leaving office, and compare if you have used your office to enrich yourself. Now, how can we ensure that the Code of Conduct live up to its responsibility?
You see, we are going to be witnessing a tsunami of change that is going to cross across the spectrum. We've just witnessed what happens with with that lady in Department of State Security, Oga, and the likes of them.
Oga.
Yeah, you know, for one reason or the other, she has been adjudged to be no longer suitable or not able to be part of the government. They have their reasons and is immaterial at this stage. There's what we call Code of Conduct, and that's also what we call good practice. When you have both, you are trying to say, here I am. I'm clean. The Code of Conduct is there. This is what you do. But Buhari has gone a step beyond that.
Beyond that.
Beyond that.
Okay.
And that is the beauty of good leadership. He has gone a step beyond that and has now made it public. That is basically challenging every single Nigerian to say, go and have a look at it. If you cannot read it in English, we shall make it available to you in Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, Efik, whatever, so that you can challenge it. Honestly speaking, I'll just put the legislators on the back burner for now. Let's look at those that will pilot the plane. They are co-pilots as well. But let's look at what the foundation, second time around, Buhari is putting in place. And that is the structure. Nigeria is, we have all the laws, we have the infrastructures, but we haven't got fine, honest operators of the system. And that is our problem. And the difference between the structure and the operator is where corruption comes in. And that is why corruption is a cancer. And it must be stopped. Because by the time this guy leaves office, if he decides to go whenever he's ready, say in the next, when the Constitution permits, somebody will have to carry out a verification exercise.
Exactly. Because
he's still going to come back and say, this is what I've got. If we know how much this guy is supposed to earn per annum, and then we all of a sudden now say, you know, declares it an asset in Mayfair in London or Knightsbridge.
Then we ask the question, how did you get that?
Come on, let's see your mortgage. And we know to get a mortgage in England is going to be 3 times your annual income. How much is your income? Convert that to pounds. How did you then get a 5 million apartment in Mayfair? The question is going to start to be asked. And then that is how you know a good servant and a not so good servant.
Okay, Major, when I saw this yesterday, some of the assets declared by the president, a question ran through my mind, and the question simply is not this. Outside the fact that he was a former head of state, a former general, and if my memory serves me right, I've seen generals in Nigeria that they are men of no small means. And
no, we can count on some officers who are men of small means, who are generals. I can cite one General Shola Williams. I was the chairman or deputy chairman, Transparency International Nigeria for some time. Ask anybody in the army. We served together. This is somebody who will not take a penny. I could remember there's a time they gave us some increase. I can't quite remember what it was about then. It was, if not the only person, he has to refund the money back to the army. He said, no, we don't deserve this. Have your money back.
He refunded.
Oh, yes, and we can give instances of what he did, but this is not the forum for that.
Okay, we'll come back to this particular issue, but quickly let's go on this break, and we'll be right back. Please, to stay with us.